The Soul of Activism, Why People Get Mad Too. Chapter 1. We can live better than this. Are we free? Do governments help us? 7. The righteous, good, practical expedient thing to do in any situation is usually not complicated, it comes quickly and it's intuitive. We squander our potential to do great things by having a lot of people study issues and discuss them in committees, sometimes for years on end. When they finally make a decision on the issue, it is anticlimactic. Sometimes the people who created the idea have long since retired and moved on. It's better to move forward and act on ideas than to do nothing but sit around claiming to study them. We don't need hundreds of politicians fighting each other. Set up an online voting system where the people vote as individuals online issue by issue. I remember President Nixon saying they were going to end poverty. It never happened because the greedy politicians ended up using the money for their own projects, not to help people en masse. We do not have the luxury for a bunch of politicians to play around at their leisure supposedly debating the issues. Life is urgent. There are urgent needs. The work is never done until there is no poverty and homelessness left. The corporate news, as opposed to the alternative news which is not supported by advertising and can therefore speak the truth, presents politics as an entertainment sport with a hierarchy of celebrity politicians kind of like professional wrestling. They report on it as a game and soap opera. In Canada, our current temporary dictator got there with 39% of the popular vote. He spends $50 billion on new military ships and planes we don't need considering we haven't been attacked since the War of 1812. There is not one federal politician right now with any sense of urgency about helping people. They make way too much money for their part-time jobs while pretending they're busy helping people. The only people they're helping is themselves and their cohorts willing to do mutual favors for them. Representative democracy is a fraud because whatever the top few insiders want goes regardless of the will of the people. People want free medical care way over wanting a military force. Representative government was the only form of democracy available up until the 21st century, but now with the internet commonly available, we have the power to set up a political system where the people cast votes as individuals on all the relevant issues. Basically, representative governments where a small group of people are elected to represent all the people, amount to temporary dictatorships where this small group of elected representatives, particularly the head dude and his few insiders, do whatever they want with no accountability, nobody able to stop them until the next election comes around, and even then, any political party, including the ones run by evil despots, can fool a lot of people with misleading advertising and propaganda. Once these politicians are elected in a majority government, they have absolute power for the next 4 years, during which time they do favors for big corporate interests who bankroll their next election campaign. Are we free? Do governments help us? 8. We have a bunch of politicians who get elected to represent the people, but as soon as they enter that zone of the parliament buildings, they become members of an elite club where they are given special treatment by the civil service and the citizens in general, while a bunch of lobbyists, special interest groups, corporate heads, military generals, non-profit groups, and high-level bureaucrats clamor to get them to do favors and vote their way on the issues, which includes lots of serious back scratching. Nobody really knows how many laws are bought and paid for. The only people who really run the country are the leader of the party that wins the election and his or her little band of insiders. Everybody else in the party is relegated to backbencher status out of the decision-making process. What we call democracy is really an oligarchy, ruled by a few elitists. That's what parliaments degenerate to. All the elected politicians together in any chamber, even though they belong to different parties, are still united as a group, so within this group, they regularly pass laws for their own benefit as individuals as opposed to for the good of the people. I don't see very many good ideas in action, just bureaucratic double talk where they say a lot of things to try to sound authoritative, but to me it's a smokescreen to make it sound like they're doing deep, advanced stuff which they're not. All that trivial, bureaucratic stuff they talk about gets in the way of real visionary progress. Very few people are philosopher kings who will do the right thing no matter what. It's very easy to get seduced by the comfortable, elitist atmosphere implicit within any elected group of people. If you hang around the house or watch it on TV, you'll soon realize that they're having fun at the expense of working to help the people. Are we free? Do governments help us? 9. Most people get sucked into the game of liberal versus conservative without allowing other ideologies in that go beyond the standard right versus left viewpoints. Life is about real people as they live. It is not about conservative or liberal ideologies because all ideologies evaporate and converge to the same obsession with power and control as soon as any group of people gets some. Look at all of human history so far as proof. The mainstream sides are basically the same. They take on the same characteristics. If they win, they act like conquering gladiators with no sensitivity to the loser who is basically the same as they are. If you watch political coverage on TV the few days after an election, the winners are all happy and gay, acting like they just won some big gold medal when they should be somber and urgent now that they have the responsibility to help the desperate people of their society. That's what a great leader would do. He or she would immediately take action to help the people in the lowest straits of society, but our politicians don't do this because they know that very poor people don't vote, so they don't think it's of any benefit to them to bother helping them. This is the way they think. If they really wanted to help poor, homeless people, we would see it on the news, but we never do. In the United States, they spend millions of dollars on an inauguration ceremony and ball. It's a symbol that the gaiety will go on as usual among the elitist insiders, while homeless people will stay homeless. The people will be forgotten until the next election, when this charade of representative democracy is repeated over again. This is not democracy. It's a blood sport for wealthy people. A couple of elitists fight each other for their own personal vanity and the power to advance the interests of their gang. All politicians become prima donnas as soon as they enter the election game. Are we free? Do governments help us? 10. Some ideas are no-brainers. They're good ideas. There is no debate necessary. Solve poverty and homelessness and move on to the next ideas. Nothing has changed since Kennedy, Johnson, and Nixon pledged to end poverty. It means the system is rotten. They say they want to help people, but they don't seem to do much. Our federal politicians have no accountability to help their local constituents with whatever problems they might have in dealing with the federal government. They might claim to do this, but there are no definite rules that say you are the official person that helps the citizens with any problems they might have with the federal government. Politicians can easily blow off citizens by not answering their calls or sending them to other departments, which they routinely do. Backbencher politicians pretend that they're really busy in Parliament when the truth is that they just sit there. When their party leader tells them to vote a certain way, they do as they're told. That's all they do. Get rid of all of them except for a national leader and set up a federal ombudsman program that gives the people access to a specific federal government professional whose job is to help them and not pretend to be some busy politician who wants to help, but he or she is just too busy with their BS stuff from Parliament to help the citizens one by one, hands-on. If you want proof as to how bad our politicians are, just look at how urgent they are in dealing with the main problems everyday people have, like homelessness, good jobs for everyone, daycare for working parents, long-term care beds in nursing homes, college student tuition, government creating an online university, the scarcity of medical professionals, drug and dental costs for seniors, dental services for the poor, cheap alternative electricity, cheap green cars, cutting-edge technical education in emerging fields like genetic engineering and nanotechnology, disabled housing, disabled job training and placement, a national standard grade school curriculum online so motivated children can graduate early and bullied or disabled children can learn at home. When was the last time you heard a politician say his salary was way too high for what he did? Are we free? Do governments help us? 11. I remember that the big bailout of the financial services industry was first defeated in the U.S. Congress, which should have been the end of it, but 3 months later they came up with another bill with some revisions and it passed, which was wrong, to bring back a bill that just died in the same political term. During that time, the financial industry lobbyists went around to congressmen one by one offering favors for their vote. That's why representative democracy is a big fat lie. The people said no, but the politicians said yes and did what they wanted over the objections of the people.